What's going on, guys? It's Rest, and in today's video I'm going to try to make the Dragon class mod usable. This video is going to be just like my Elementalist video that I made, which received a huge amount of support, so I figured I would do the next worst class mod on Amara and see if I can make it usable. Now, speaking of support, I just want to say really quick, thank you guys so much for 4,000 subscribers. The support on this channel lately has been absolutely crazy, and I seriously appreciate it. But now that we're at 4K, we are now currently on the road to 5K, so if you enjoy this video or any of my videos, consider subscribing and dropping a like. It's free, and it's what allows me to keep making videos like this for you guys. I hope to see you on the road to 5K. But with all that being said, let's get right into this class mod. So just like the Elementalist, the Dragon class mod is definitely one of the weaker class mods in the game. If you read the Dragon, it says whenever Amara kills an enemy with a melee attack, her action skill augment is triggered. Now, just like the Elementalist as well, this sounds very good. Being able to have your action skill augment always triggered on every melee kill definitely sounds very viable. But when you actually start using it and playing the game, it just doesn't work like you want it to. Now, besides the actual legendary effect of this class mod, the skills you get from this are Restless, Remnant, and Do Harm. Those are actually pretty good skills. Do Harm is not the greatest because with Do Harm you want to do action skill damage, but this is not an action skill focused class mod. But Restless is good for cooldown rate, and Remnant is also very good in certain scenarios. If you can get 4 points of Restless and 1 point Remnant, it actually is going to be very well because you'll get a lot of cooldown rate on top of having 1 point in Remnant, so you always have the orb and you don't have to invest 1 point into it. You can further put that point anywhere else in Mystical Assault and make your character even stronger. But that is just for the skills of this comm. Obviously, on every legendary class mod, the main attraction to it is the legendary effect. So if you take a look at Amara's augments, you have things like Soul Sap, Stillness of Mind, Allure, Revelation, and Glamour. Now, the problem is on Amara, these augments are just not that good compared to some of the other characters' augments. You have some skills like Stillness of Mind that actually is pretty good, and even Soul Sap if you need some health, but all in all, they are not the greatest. So if you take a look at these augments and pair them with the class mod, if you look at things like Glamour, when you get a melee kill, an enemy near you is actually going to be on your side, but the problem is that enemy is not going to do that much damage, but it will work in the sense that the enemy will not shoot at you, and since you're playing a melee build, that will reduce some damage taken, so that's not that bad. But then you have things like Soul Sap, which is also okay for a melee build because when you get a melee kill, you can get some health back. But the problem is you have artifacts like a Knife Drain that pretty much instantly heals you if you get a melee hit, and you don't really have to run Soul Sap. Then next you have Stillness of Mind, which actually can work pretty well if you have 1 point in Remnant on the class mod itself, because when you get a melee kill, you're going to lock everything in the air. It's going to spawn a Remnant Orb, and that Remnant Orb is going to have a ton of damage built into it and one shot whatever that you locked in the air. The next you have things like Allure, so when you get a melee kill, you're going to create a Singularity, which will bring enemies closer to you, which sounds nice, but actually using it doesn't really affect the gameplay that much. And then finally you have things like Revelation, so whenever you get a melee kill, now you're going to create an explosion. Now, some of those seem very good. You might be thinking to yourself, well, Rest, if you can just melee enemy and lock everything in the air, and you can constantly do that over and over again, then it'll be really good. And that I say it would be, but for my testing, it does not seem to work like that. See, this class mod seems to have a small cooldown period on when you can actually get the legendary effect proc again. If you get the melee kill, proc Stillness of Mind, the Remnant Orb goes on and kills the enemy, your next melee kill will not lock enemies in the air again. It has a short cooldown to when you can actually use it again. Now, with that being said, things like Revelation from my testing does not have a cooldown. So the way I think Gearbox wants you to use this is to run Revelation with this class mod and make your melees have these AoE explosions, which actually can be pretty nice. Now, is it the best thing in the game? No, but it is very fun to use. Now, again, you might be thinking to yourself, well, so since this is very melee focused and melee kills proc all these, would the Face Puncher work with this? And yes, it actually does. The Face Puncher does proc all of these just like any other normal melee would, and that actually increases the value of this class mod by a lot. So if you run things like Revelation with the Face Puncher, so now not only is your Face Puncher doing a lot of damage, now every kill you get is going to create explosions, which is also going to help kill other enemies. You could also run things like Stillness of Mind to kill an enemy with the Face Puncher, lock everybody in the air, and then proceed to kill everything that's locked in the air. Yes, there is that short cooldown, but normally to use Stillness of Mind, you would have to use an action skill, which has a longer cooldown than the Dragon class mod cooldown. So with that knowledge, your Face Puncher is kind of like an action skill with just a shorter cooldown. Killing an enemy will lock everybody in the air, and then you have a Dragon Dragon class mod cooldown to reproc the Sinless Amon again, and you can keep doing it over and over. Now, general tips I will give for this class mod is if that you are trying to make it work and you're noticing that your augments just are not procking. From what I've seen, the way it works is that you need to actually use your action skill at least one time when you load into an area, because that is going to start and make your augments work. If you swap augments in between a fight, you have to use your action skill, I guess, to reset your augment on the class mod, and then it'll start working again. In a sense, it's kind of like if you swap action skill element, you have to use an action skill to actually change the color on your arms and start to get the benefits from that. From my testing, this class mod works the exact same way, just with the augments. But now, with all that being said, overall, the Dragon class mod on paper seems very good, but in the game, it just does not perform like it should. Other class mods are just better if you're going for melee style builds, and this is more of a unique slash gimmicky fun item. Now, I will say keep an eye out for this class mod, and that is because with the new action skills coming, we're gonna have more augments on Omara, and who's to say that these augments might not be extremely powerful, or you can keep reprocking them over and over again on every melee kill like Revelation. Definitely be sure to keep that in mind, because this class mod might rise to be one of the best. Another tip for this, if you're trying to make this class mod work, obviously you need to run melee focused weapons, but just like the Elementalist class mod, this class mod has gotten better as the game progressed. Not only having more skills, it's going to give you more damage, you also have new perks like Groundbreaker, where you can shoot an enemy a little bit and then melee them to get the action skill augment proc. That is another way of using this class mod. You don't have to go pure melee. You can do a brawler type build with a shotgun, get very close, get them really weak, and then your Groundbreaker is going to one-shot them, proc an action skill augment, and you can go to the next target. There are multiple different ways you can use this class mod, but in reality, in every single way, just other class mods are going to do it better. But that is the Dragon class mod. I hope this video showed that it is usable, but it is definitely not the greatest thing in the world. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Prada Bay, run away, don't go. I'm in hell, might as well just go. Losing track, don't take my soul. I'm in first, you too late, you slow.